Hey everyone, my name is Landon Melling, account executive here at Academy of Mind, and today I'm joined by Patrick Bergstrom, business analyst here at AOM, to discuss learning management system customizations. As the e-learning space has continued to evolve over the last several years, the need for LMS platforms that are flexible, easy to use, and can scale years into the future has become increasingly important. This is why LMS customizations have become such a big part of our team recently, and why Patrick has played a large role in this process for us. So Patrick, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Lennon. So maybe just a quick, you obviously mentioned that I'm a business analyst here at AOM. So what does that actually mean? So I get a lot involved in anything to do with requirements. So whether we're building features internally for the core that will then be given out in the new product, or if any customers come with us with specific requirements, then I usually get involved to try to understand the problem and then to develop something custom for them.
Awesome. Yeah, so within an LMS customization, I mean, that can be pretty broad. So if you don't mind giving kind of a brief overview, what exactly is an LMS customization and why might a team request one?
So yeah, like you mentioned, it's very broad scope and it can literally include anything. So I mean, it is a customization, so really it's whatever the customer wants. But to get into a couple of specific examples, or kind of the scope of a customization, generally it's either they want to change the look and feel, they want to change something structurally with how the student user experiences the platform, or maybe how the admin works through the platform, or, and this is what we see probably more frequently, is that it's a business specific workflow that they're trying to implement into the platform, and they need something custom because that's just how the business works. So we always try to work with our customers, try to understand the problem in that sense.
Got it. Yeah, it makes sense. And I imagine that there's kind of a large range of something that, like you said, it could be a smaller, simple change or even something more drastic, like implementing a whole new feature. So could you give maybe a couple of specific examples or use cases of what an LMS customization might look like?
Yeah, of course. So maybe starting off with a small use case or a small example. Sometimes we have customers come with us that they need a specific report that they generate on a, let's say, daily or weekly or monthly basis that they then need to present to third parties, or it's something they need to provide to their own customers, or maybe it's just internally for management. So that's probably a small customization that we'll do on our end, and that would be specific for that customer. A medium customization would be something like an integration. So for the platform to seamlessly integrate with something like HubSpot or other CRM tools, like I think Constant Contact is one of them. So those types of integrations are usually around a medium customization, and a large customization will probably be for larger companies that have their own ecosystem, and they want us to, they want the AOM platform to integrate completely within their ecosystem. So that usually involves a lot of integration in terms of how the usernames, the passwords, how a user can move seamlessly between the platforms without even realizing that AOM is even an external part of their ecosystem. So that's probably one of the larger examples that we've seen in the past.
Got it. Yeah, that's awesome. And when I'm on the sales side a little bit, what I always see from clients is a list of features, and they may have nice to have features or must have features. And sometimes the customization can fall within a must have to actually get onboarded and set up. So if I was a team coming to you with a customization, how might I form a business case around a customization? What are the things that maybe I should be kind of keeping in mind? And then some of the advantages as well of having an LMS that can be customized going into the future.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, just like you mentioned, sometimes people will ask for things that really just are nice to have. They would prefer things to be here, prefer things to be there. And of course, we can implement that. But what I really like to understand or try to get from a customer is for them to understand the need for it. Are they trying to implement this because they're spending X amount of hours every day, every week, manually? Someone is manually doing this and they want to automate it, and therefore they're going to save a lot of money over time. So that's probably one of the biggest use cases, being able to save time or money by implementing this. Then obviously there's some processes, if it has a human involved, is always error prone. There's always someone can make a mistake, and depending on obviously the workflow or the process, that could be costly as well. So sometimes it's also about understanding what are the risks of not implementing this. So that's usually a good use case for it too. Then in terms of some of the other options, obviously there are open source alternatives, and open source being that the code is freely available, anyone can implement it any way they want, versus AOM, which is a hosted platform. So essentially we take care of everything for our customers. So for open source solutions, it's great because the code is available, you can kind of do whatever you want, but there's always hidden costs involved, unfortunately. So usually you need to include other plugins. The plugins aren't necessarily free, someone can charge it. Open source never means that it's free, it just means that it's available. Plugins can cost, you will need some sort of developer team to actually change things. You will need a support team to, if something happens with these developments, who's going to support it? You need to find out how to host it, you need domain. So all of these things that initially it seems like a great opportunity to be able to do something for free. Then, if you don't have the technical expertise, you need to bring all these people in to actually form that. So obviously that's one of the reasons why people go with a hosted solution versus going down the open source route.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. And when you think as well too about some of the teams that we work with, and we work with a lot of small and mid-sized teams who may not have an in-house development team. So
Exactly.
having the option of a team working almost as an extension of their company within the LMS on our side and being able to custom build some of these functionalities for them, it's a huge advantage from a business case.
And obviously, the longer we work with a customer, the more we understand their business, we understand how they work, and that really creates a good synergy. So we almost become like partners, in the end. We benefit from them doing well as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when I hear customization, I think that there's a common misconception that anytime I'm going in and, for example, like white labeling, if I want to customize the branding or the look and feel of the platform, I want to upload my own logo, I'm technically customizing the platform, but it's really not the same thing as like custom development. Can you talk a little bit about some of the key differences there?
Yeah, of course. So when we talk about customizing the platform in terms of white labeling or branding, we're usually talking about the logos, the colors, and the overall look and feel of the platform, but not the structure. So not necessarily moving things around, but changing, do we want rounded borders? Do we want different colors in the background? Do we want different fonts? Things like that, all those styling things are available out of the box. So we also help sometimes if customers aren't super familiar with things like CSS, cascading style sheets, which allows, which is basically the way how any website is styled today is using CSS. So if our customers aren't familiar with it, we just help. We will help, implement different styling things. But if we're talking about implementing structural changes to the code, changing how something processed, you click a button and it does something completely different to what the current workflow is. That's what we would describe as a customization. So it's really about customizations are really about implementing business logic, versus customizations to branding is more like styling.
Got it. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And, since you're so heavily involved within the customization process, and I don't think we've really talked, unless you've gone through the customization process with our team, somebody really might not know exactly what that process looks like. So from the moment that I am working within the Academy of Mind platform and I come and I reach out to you to set up a call around a potential customization, could you walk me through a very detailed overview of like what that process looks like on your side and kind of how you proceed with something like that?
Yeah, of course. So yes, it usually starts off either with a call or we get a email come in from a customer, and usually it doesn't start off as I need a customization. Usually it just starts off, I'm having this issue, or I have this problem. And then that's really how we'll start off the process. We try to understand, so we kind of explore what is the actual problem at hand. And then what we like to do as a team is try to understand what are some potential solutions. And that usually it starts off with what's available out of the box. Are there any workarounds? Are you flexible to change your process and use this, and then therefore a customization wouldn't be required? And then finally, if none of those options are good and you're still willing to go in for a customization, then we'll explore customization. So that's kind of how we like to start it. Once you have a kind of expressed interest in exploring customization, then what we'll do on our end is go through the analysis. So first, what we like to do is a high-level analysis so that we can basically come back to you with a high-level ballpark estimate. So that's usually what we'll say, this is going to take between 8 to 12 hours, for instance. So once we do that, sorry, let me go back. So the reason why we do that is essentially so that we can come back to you with an estimate very quickly. So we don't go into all the detail, does this need to be here? Does this need to be there? Does this, is this edge case useful or not? We try to do a very high level and then give a range. So that gives flexibility on both sides. As a customer, you receive an estimate and you can quickly go back to your finance team or your business or anyone that needs to approve it and say, if we were to spend this amount, would that be okay? Then once the ballpark estimates have been provided, if you as a customer agree that you would be okay to move forward with this, like this sounds reasonable, essentially we guarantee that the cost won't exceed the ballpark estimate that we provide. So the way we price out the customizations is based on our estimates times by our hourly rate. And that is always, it always becomes a fixed cost in the end, because you'll always know the cost before you commit to going into it, rather than, we are coding this and suddenly we realize there's another 200 hours to finish this. And then we, bill the customer afterwards. That never happens. You as a customer always know what the cost is going into it before you agree to start off the customization. So just going back, so first we explore the problem, then we'll analyze at a high level, and if we're okay to move forward, then we do sort of the deep dive into the problem. We create a specifications document, which is essentially all the detailed requirements in order to implement this feature. Then we'll go back to the customer and ask if they're okay with it. Do they agree with it? Do they want any revisions? Should anything be changed? Should the scope be changed? At that point, it's still going back and forth between the customer and OEM, just trying to understand if this is something we want to move forward with. Assuming everything is good with the document, we covered all the use cases, we've covered all the features that are required in it, then we essentially move forward. So really, it's, we start off with the explore stage, we analyze, and then we go through this revision stage. And then after that, if everything is good, we move forward.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great overview. And, I think there's really something to be said about understanding that business case rather than just going in and starting to write code. I know how I can imagine within your position how anytime there's an opportunity to write code, it's likely very exciting. But like you said, it's really advantageous to the customer to be able to understand what the actual goal or what the problem is that they're trying to solve within any spec or with any potential customization there, and then figuring out how to proceed. So again, like you said,
I think one of the things is falling in love with the problem rather than the solution. So really understanding what the problem is, and then that could open up multiple solutions. And sometimes it is, hey, if you just change one thing on your end, that would bring the price down or the cost down significantly. So we always try to find creative solutions from a customer's point of view as well.
Awesome. Yeah, of course. Great. I think that pretty much covers kind of an overview on our side in terms of the customizations. Before we head off here today, is there anything you want to add? And also, if I was interested in getting a custom developed LMS, how would I go forward with that through Academy of Mind?
So I think the easiest is just to send us an email. at help@academyofmind.com. That's really where most customizations start off with. And remember that there's no commitments. There's nothing. It starts off with as a conversation. It takes a while before we get to a point where there's any type of commitment or any type of discussion about price. And I'll ask this as well. Even if you don't want to go down the customization route, if you have something that you want improved, let us know, because I love taking down feedback from customers. And then at some point, it might be that we include that into upcoming features as well. So whether you want a customization or you just want the platform to be better in some way, just either way, let us know.
Awesome. And yeah, if you're interested in taking a look and seeing what our learning management system has to offer, go to academyofmind.com. Feel free to reach out to us, and we're always here and happy to help. Patrick, thank you so much again for your time today. Really appreciate it. And to everybody listening, thank you so much.
Excellent. Cheers. Bye.